Good evening. My name is Paige Gimbel. I'm calling in from Chico, California, and tonight we will be having a science call for Activz on the Activz Trifecta. And I am so excited to hear about this, and I wanted to share with you our presenter tonight, Dr. Larry Martin. He's the CEO and owner of Nutrigenomic Health, Inc. He has a doctorate from the University of Florida School of Medicine, and he has studied in homeopathic and holistic medicine from the School of Health Science in Paris, France. And for the last 7 years, he's focused on cellular research, oxidative stress, and the effects oxidative stress has on triggering disease processes at the cellular level. I know you will all really enjoy this presentation tonight, and I can't wait to hear it. And with that, I'm going to hand over the presentation to Dr. Larry Martin.
Well, good evening, all. I appreciate you being here tonight. And for those who are not able to be, I hope that they have the opportunity to review this recording at a later time, and hopefully there'll be enough information tonight that you'll be able to share this with people as you talk about the science. We don't expect each of you to be the experts. We are working diligently to provide some of the expertise for you, and by way of some of these recordings on the science. So we labeled these 3 products of Activz essentially the trifecta. And for those who understand horse racing, it's when 3 horses finish the race in first, second, and third place, and you get to be the one that selects those 3 horses. And when they do fall into that, you win, and you win big because it's a pretty high percentage chance that you're not going to select the exact first, second, third place winners. Well, when we look at the Activz products, it in themselves are a trifecta, and I'll explain why we're using this particular terminology as we go along here. But in the Activz product, the trifecta is when the 3 epigenetic formulations overlap the ability to upregulate our cellular health. The effects are far greater when these 3 products work together than when they are used individually. When these 3 active products, product formulations are used together, you're going to win, and in the end, you'll win big. Next slide. So the 3 products that we're talking about is one, we haven't really spent a lot of time talking about it, but it is an Activz product. It just is available in Mexico at the time, and that's our Genomics product. This is a Nrf2 activator, and it's the strongest Nrf2 activator on the market today. And it's designed to regulate gene expressions and epigenetic changes as well. The other product, LINQ, is a gut formula of butyric acid as a primary ingredient with 3 prebiotics that are incorporated with the formula as well. And the third product being Optimend, which is an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory product comprised of 2 herbs, which are tetrahydrocurcumin and Boswellia serrata. Next slide, please. So we look at the Genomics product, and we know that it is the strongest Nrf2 activator. It's designed to achieve optimal cellular function and offset the negative effects that occur because of oxidative stress, which is the effects of our environment, the aging process, inflammation, and also help regulating poorly regulated genes. Next slide. The LINQ product is an epigenetic formula that is scientifically validated to improve brain function, it will restore gut health function, and it can increase metabolism. It regulates the immune system, and it benefits the skin. LINQ is providing critical energy to the brain and to the body at the cellular level. Next slide. And Optimend is, as I mentioned, is a powerful antioxidant and anti-inflammatory process that is using a patent-pending breakthrough technology that uses a two-pronged approach to manage both occasional and also chronic inflammation. Thus, it can reduce your minor aches and pains and also support the more chronic stuff like joint mobility and flexibility that is often associated with chronic inflammation. Next slide. So at the root of diseases is oxidative stress. And as Paige mentioned, I spent a number of years really focusing on oxidative stress. We know that that's the critical trigger that can morph cell biology to be able to turn on some of these genes or morph them into the cancers that we see, the neurological disorders, the gut-related disorders. Genomics is, excuse me, is used to help repair the gut by reducing the inflammation that occurs at that level, and also helps healing in a number of gut health products. And we'll go into some of the pathologies a little bit later in another slide. Next one. So the Trifecta is utilizing genomics, LINQ, and Optimend together. Now, often I'll receive phone calls from distributors who may have a family member, who may have a friend, who may have somebody they're talking with that has specific disease pathologies. Once the body has reached to a level where diseases are starting to be triggered because of oxidative stress, and there can be obviously a number of triggers that starts that process. But once diseases are being recognized and diagnosed, can I recommend just one product to somebody who's asking me for the care of a patient? Of course, I'm always cautious to tell them to make sure their physician is involved in it. But my general answer to them when it's a specific disease process is that maybe just one of these products is not going to be sufficient. If you're dealing with something that is specific to the gut, irritable bowel syndrome, irritable bowel disease, Crohn's, then certainly the LINQ will be an appropriate product to start with. But because that's a highly inflammatory process, I would certainly want to recommend Optimend as a secondary product to be considered as well. And if I'm going to go that route and want to discuss helping that patient the best that I can with my professional recommendation, I wouldn't rule out suggesting that they should also be on genomics, as that is a NRF2 upregulator, and we know that that affects every cell within the body. And if you want to really attack a disease process, you want to do it with a 1-2-3 bang, if you will. Let's go to the next slide. So I talked initially that there are going to be a number of diseases that are associated specifically with the NRF2 activation, specifically with butyric acid, and also specifically with tetrahydrocurcumin or Boswellia serrata. And this slide gives you an indication. So with NRF2 activation, we know that cardiovascular disease, and this is based on research published, peer-reviewed journal studies that you can easily obtain on pubmed.gov. So cardiovascular disease is well published. IBS and IBD, well published, with NRF2 activation being effective. A variety of ophthalmology pathologies are benefited with upregulating NRF2. Neurological disorders, nerve damage, such as in diabetes patients, kidney disease, inflammation. Again, mentioned diabetes, depression on a neurological level, as well as a variety of cancers. If you search butyric acid and review these studies with that particular formulation, you can also find irritable bowel disease, irritable bowel syndrome, Crohn's, colon cancers, diabetes, metabolic disorders, neurological disorders, Alzheimer's, autism, inflammation, and again, a variety of cancers. Already I've just talked about 2 of these products, and you can, I hope it's easily recognizable to you, the overlap that we're describing with these 3 products. And then finally, as an anti-inflammatory antioxidant product, the Optimend and the ingredients within the tetrahydrocurcumin and Boswellia serrata are recognized with research that suggests that they're helpful with respiratory inflammation, sinus infections, flu symptoms, allergies, asthma, antibacterial issues, again, nerve damage, antiviral, variety of central nervous system infections and cancer. Also, obvious one is the inflammation. So let's go to the next slide. And remember that I just went through and did a rough search for these particular ingredients and or processes, since the genomics is a NRF2 activator. I'm certainly just looking for research on NRF2 to find out what kind of studies that are out there that each of these products may overlap each other. So when we talk about these products, if we want to optimize how our bodies function, how we can achieve cellular function at its best, the trifecta approach with the genomics, with the LINQ, and with the Optimend will provide for you maximum cellular health. And so with that, we'll continue and we'll talk and maybe take some questions if that works. I would, if you can also maybe go back to the slide where these 3 overlap page. Right there. So that is the purpose of putting up this particular slide, is that when we talk about what each of these products can and will do at the cellular level, you can now, I hope, better understand that each of these, even though they have some overlap, that overlap isn't a negative thing, it's a positive thing. And that when we can look at the genomics, the NRF2 upregulator, we know that it has a specific function that it works best at. When we look at the LINQ, we know that it has a specific function that it works best at. And when we look at Optimend, we can say the same thing with it. But underlying all 3 of these products, they will do a little bit of all 3, each of them individually. But when you put all 3 of them together, you get the strength of the primary function of each of those 3 products working at the epigenetic or cellular level to give your body the best defense. And especially when you're talking about people who have been diagnosed with a variety of diseases, we want to give that person the very best we can, and just offering them a bottle of LINQs or a bottle of Optimend may not achieve what we really want to see happen with that person. And by offering all 3 products, you're really getting the body to maximize its cellular function to be able to help fight off any kind of disease process. You want the body in its best shape possible when it's trying to fight the disease. These products are not fighting the disease. These products are simply bringing the genomic level, the cellular function level, the gene expressions back to a level where they're functioning at their best, so that the genes themselves, the body at the cellular level itself, is the one that is going to be fighting disease and helping to reverse disease pathologies. I hope that makes sense and is helpful.
So that's awesome, Dr. Larry. Thank you so much for that. And just to remind you guys, these statements presented have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. And these products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease. And thank you for attending the webinar tonight, the science webinar on the Activz Trifecta. If you have any questions, we're going to be taking questions in just a minute. If you have questions, I'm going to stop the recording for that. But if you have to pop off, or if you're watching this on the replay, please get back to the person that shared this with you for more information. And with that, I'm going to open up the call for questions.